Welcome back, everyone. Monica Bosinov, Simon Severino in the house. Today, it's about one big lie, and that's your revenue ceiling. If you feel like there is a plateau, there is some kind of ceiling for your revenue, or you're even stuck at a revenue level that you don't like, good news, you don't have to stay there. And Monica and I, we will unpack how it might not be a real ceiling. Maybe it's just in our head and we can get rid of it. So let's jump into it. Welcome, Monica.
Thank you, Simon. Good morning. I love this. I love this topic because we hear it all the time, right? Leaders plateau. There is an upper limit. There is this ceiling that we're hitting, and that's the experience, right? You hit a new level of success, and now it's like, oh, this is where I'm at. And you want to move on, and it feels impossible to move up. So here's where we need to be very, very careful. Need to be careful to make the conclusion that what I observe, what I experience, is what's actually happening. So I have this really fun story. This is from one of Dave Trott's books about, he has this short story about this German engineer who, no, sorry, not engineer, scientist who figured out how wind works, what creates wind. So he was out observing what was happening whenever it was a windy day, and he observed, whoa, the trees are moving. Got it. I see every time there's a wind, every time it's windy outside, the trees are moving. The trees are creating the wind. It's what he observed. Same thing with us. We are really bad at understanding ourselves and what is really going on. So we can see, okay, I have hit this level of success. I now have this revenue. I'm at this limit. This is my upper limit. I'm hitting the glass ceiling. That is what it feels like. And I'm sure, Simon, that you hear people saying this. This is the experience they have, right? This is as far as I get for now. But that is not true. There's this saying that I love. It's really hard to read, or it's impossible to read the label from within the bottle, right? So we don't really see what's going on with ourselves. And the brain will start making sense of what is going on. So it will re-engineer and find the explanation that seems plausible, like the trees made the wind. So we will say, this is my upper limit. This is what's going on. This is what's stopping me. What's actually going on every time we hit a new level of success, a new revenue goal, it can be visibility, it can be anything that puts us further ahead than we have ever been, is actually a nervous system response saying, whoa, I've never been at this level before. What do I do now? This feels scary. But it's not a cognitive thought. However, the brain sees or register that something is going on, and it reverse engineers. And it says it must be this. It must be an upper limit. It must be a ceiling. That's what's going on. And that is why we plateau, stay there for a really long time, unless we have someone showing us what's really going on. So we need outside support to identify this. And we see this over and over and over again because it sounds so plausible, right? This is my ceiling.
What's your ceiling right now?
Oh, my ceiling is always visibility. Scary. Yeah.
I can get more seen out there. I can't grow my Social media
Yes.
numbers? Okay.
Uh, and being like outspoken. And that's the, thank you for mentioning that, because we all have our thing, right? So the nervous system creates like experience. You have kids,
3.
three. This guy is rich. He has three kids.
This guy is tired.
But you see how they shape, and they're all different, right?
Very different.
And very different. So they have a nervous system that is very different.
Yeah.
And based on that nervous system, they interpret experience differently. So if you are a kid that have power of word, right? You can be a lot to handle for your parents. You can be shut down over and over and over again. I had that experience really early on in life. Like I had relatives shutting me down. So for me, using my voice and being visible is kind of scary. And the next level up is always scary for me. Someone may have, they are the ideas person. They have these brilliant ideas and they're always making up new stuff. And they get told to quiet down, don't be that much. This is not how we think. This is not how we operate, right? This is not how we do it in our family. So we all have our own engineering in the system. And when we follow that passion, when we follow that drive, we stick out, right? And then we can also have, like, money is a very common block or limiting, like there are limiting beliefs. So if you start making a lot of money and you're like different from most of the people in your industry, you do things in a different way. You have like, now you have a revenue that's increasing, you're breaking the rules. Breaking the rules is a big thing for a lot of us because, CEOs, entrepreneurs, we kind of break rules, don't follow the pattern by default. It's how we're nervous system, how it's wired. And now, how many rules can you break before it becomes dangerous, before you get too much criticism, right? How much of a load can you carry? Are you there?
So everybody has their own upper limit. What is it? How can we find our own upper limit? Is it conscious? Do we know it? Do we see it
Yeah.
by mistake or by
So
setbacks?
pattern recognition is where it happens. So we see one thing and we explain it, right? This is where the cognition can fail us because we see the situation that's happening now. But your thing is always your thing. So every time I increase my revenue and I plateau, I will explain it cognitively. Well, it wasn't the right time for the market now to make that move. Maybe we should adjust too. Maybe we need to hire more people. Maybe we need to look at a different marketplace. And you and I have had this conversation as well, Simon. We find the thing that works and it works so well. So now we start focusing on other stuff because it seems like the logic thing to do. So we will all have these patterns. Solopreneurs, they will say, yeah, the system I'm following now, the coach I'm working with now isn't working anymore. I need to find someone else. And then they start anew, right? The more skilled CEO will start finding, maybe we need to change our organization, we need to change the way we operate. There will be this.
This guy
Mhm.
here, Charlie Munger, he had the opposite view. He said, find one thing that works and that is simple enough that you can do repeatedly and repeat it.
Yes.
And it was so simple and so boring that it was overheard at that time. But then 2 decades later, he got attention because Berkshire Hathaway became a behemoth in the industry. And so they were right, he and Warren Buffett. But when he said that, basically nobody was listening
Yeah.
because it's so simple. It's
Hmm.
simple and repeat. I, I love reading books. And now that I'm 45, I see myself reading mostly books that are pre World War II, and half of them is actually before the decline of the Roman Empire. So it's old books. It's Marcus
How old?
Aurelius. It's Marcus Aurelius sitting in the Colosseum, and while he's being entertained with
Hmm.
gladiators fighting
Hmm.
lions, etc., he's writing down, he's journaling. He said, I'm
Hmm.
tired. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know who I can trust. So he's journaling.
Hmm.
Wonderful. Or I'm reading the Bible. And the Bible is
Hmm.
just, you know, despair, hope, suffering, love, relationships. It's the most basic human emotions and needs and experiences.
Hmm.
Because I have the feeling, yeah, I can read another 3 books on digital marketing, but actually that stuff is changing every week. As soon as I read it, it's old. And then there is stuff that's actually always true, like the needs of your clients. They need to be seen, heard, understood. They
Yeah.
don't want to be not seen, not heard, not misunderstood, right? So those things are eternal. Actually, if we get the few eternal things right, the rest is a minor adjustment.
And here's the thing, just like your clients want to be seen, heard, and acknowledged, your kids, they want to be seen, heard, and acknowledged, right? Your nervous system, your emotions, your passion, your drive, everything that you're actually operating on, also want to be seen, heard, and acknowledged. So when we focus out what is the next thing I need to do, we often lose out on listening to ourselves, listening to what's going on the inside. And that pattern, right? What I, and as an individual, always want to be seen as, be heard as, be acknowledged for, is the same. And that's the drive and the passion, that is the fuel. But we need to be able to sit with it in silence. And for you, a lot of that happens every Thursday morning. For some people, it's a walk in nature, but we need to sit with it. And then when those plateaus happen, it's always the same thing. What did I not listen to, right? Where am I feeling like I'm pushing my own boundary? Where do I need to stop? Take that in. And what can be like super useful is having someone on the outside observing you, someone that is saying uncomfortable truths that hold you accountable and say, hey, I'm seeing this pattern. We've seen it before, right? So I had a friend of me being an accountability partner for 3 years. And every time I hit that ceiling, it was the same story coming up. I was telling myself the same story. I did not recognize it until she said, hey, Monica, it seems like you're telling yourself the same story again. And it was like, oh, yes, it's the same old story. It's happening again, right? So the plateauing, the idea of I have hit an upper limit, start observing, because you cannot change something you're not aware of. And we need outside support for that.
And it's about boredom too, right? Being able to be bored. We're getting worse and worse at being bored,
Mhm.
at doing boring things. Everything is so exciting. You go to your phone and there is Netflix and there is X and everything is exciting, right? So I'm the core methods that we use in our coaching are super boring.
Mhm.
Uh, the circle thing, right? The strategic, the daily habits. It's 4 habits. It's always the same habits. Nobody is excited about them. But today is January 29, and I'm here. So this is very, very boring, and it's in front of me. The practice of making money is boring, but it's January 28th, the last time that I've documented it. And the focus card is always the same thing. Every Friday, the same 10 metrics that we look at. How many people were on our website? 11,000. Oh, that's more than last week. It was 10,600. Okay, what happened? What can we learn from this? But it's boring, right? It's always the same.
Yeah.
Okay, and how many started a free trial? How many completed the free trial? Why are they not completing the free trial? Those are the conversations, and it can be very boring because at the same time you hear, oh, there is this new AI that if you just do this, and it's magical,
Yeah.
right?
And if I jump over to this system, now everything will change, right? It's one of the big traps when you get at least when when you start building traction. One of those big traps is, oh, I need to try something new.
Mm-hmm.
What? Just double down on what's already working.
Mm-hmm.
Do the boring things, and you will get to a new plateau. And now you will start scaring yourself, thinking, oh, I'm not keeping up with. So now I need to do something new again. And you lose the rhythm.
And this was my frustration when I was flying to clients. Like, my normal industry is you fly there, you help them, you fly back. And so you are constantly feeling very excited and aroused because you're flying somewhere. They are usually excited. Oh, welcome to the workshop. And then welcome to the workshop. This is the agenda. And then you fly back. And then the whole week feels totally busy, very active, like literally people shining lights on you, you on stage, all that stuff. But then it's Friday, you look at your boring numbers, they've gone nowhere, because we were always solving other people's problems and never had zero time to think about our own.
Yeah, and you don't have the white space.
No white space.
You need the white space. You need the white space for creativity. You need the white space for insights into what is not working. You need the white space for personal development, awareness about your own shortcomings. What do I need to change? Where do I need to grow? You do need white space.
One ritual that I find myself doing fast almost every day. I don't know if you ever talked back and forth to Gemini on your phone.
Mhm.
I love it. And so I go for a walk. Today I did this in the morning. I was walking 10 minutes, and I had this question in my mind that I'm now 45, I'm training 8 hours a week. Maybe I'm overtraining, but I don't really know because I'm not measuring it and I'm not an expert. Who knows? I feel tired, but that's normal.
Mhm.
So I don't know. And so I tell Gemini, this is what I do on Monday, Tuesday, Friday, etc. This is the intensity, this is the weights, that this is my age. Am I overtraining or not? And it immediately says, well, check your electrolytes, check this, check that, sleep quality, blah, blah, blah. So it starts talking to me. And then I say, is there anything that I'm missing
Mhm.
here?
Yeah.
So I started asking questions about my blind spots.
Mhm.
And then it found some that I just drink water the whole week. And so,
Mhm.
and I didn't think about that. It said, hey, just check your electrolytes and don't look at muscles and soreness. Look at the things that apply more to your age, like the tendons and stuff like that. I wouldn't have thought about that. So
Mhm.
it gave
Yeah.
me it a blind spot help.
Mhm.
And that's actually deep thinking, right? And that's white space. I was just walking,
Mhm.
and it's deep thinking. It's different than my normal thinking, right?
Yes. And that's something that AI helps with now because we can speed up the thinking process. I find that with me as well. I have all of these, I'm a non-linear thinker, so I have all of these things that seem to be connected. And now I'm like, hey, I share this, put it into AI and see what it throws back at me,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
And now I'm like, no, 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 right, okay, I agree with this, but here's the other thing that I missed. I didn't mention this thing. And then it creates another pattern. And then sometimes I kind of argue with it because no, right? No, no, I didn't say that. This is what I said. Please, right? Remember this. Because here's what we also need to understand with AI. It's a big pattern recognition machine, but it favors mainstream patterns and mainstream thinking because it gets um, the things that are the most obvious is the things that it will see, right? So it will be biased toward mainstream thinking. So that's where you need to have the white space and also to think for yourself and challenge it. And sometimes that's a good thing. When it's more deeper things that are personal, I would recommend an actual human being, right? Because you all will also need space for holding that vulnerability. But AI is a great place to start. And for like training processes, like if you're looking into chemical processes, science that you don't know, right? I just learned about this a few months back about this whole new, like the modulatory system of the brain that I had no idea existed. I could ask AI about this. What are the cells? What are the chemicals? What are the receptors? We can like ask all of these questions and you can get really high level information. And you can do that, of course, with business strategies, right? Ask questions, get answers, but be aware, right? You need to challenge and double check because AI hallucinates like, what is it, 20 to 30% of the time?
Well, the reason I'm sharing walking and talking to Gemini because that's just about our own thinking process. That's just
Mhm.
white space where you develop your thinking,
Yeah.
and you can do it immediately when you have 10 minutes, you're going somewhere. And because, listeners, they have kids, they run businesses. If they have to schedule a meeting with a coach a week later, by then it's not alive anymore. But you can do it in the very moment when it comes, and it's about your own thinking.
Mhm.
And so that's how you can create white space. Also, that's why our coaching is 24/7, right? You don't schedule a time and then you have to wait for a week. In between those weekly things, there is a sprint club where you tag immediately your sprint coach or you tag me and you get your immediate thinking partner,
Yeah.
because that's when it is alive, when the energy is there and the attention is there. Later on, you have to retrieve all the information and it's not the same thing.
Mhm.
And the hallucination, that's different. That's when you sit down and ask questions. It's important that you give it enough context. And
Mhm.
if you don't give context, it will go to mainstream and it will hallucinate. So for each task, we create projects, and those projects we feed with the right information that we want to have. So my investing systems, I wouldn't ask, should I buy this stock or not? Then it
No,
would tell me
no.
everything that everybody gets wrong right now. What I do is I give it the exact Tim Collar version 8 of the valuation book. And I said, chapter 7, this is your lens. And now look at this industry industrial gas company from the perspective of chapter 7, and let's start the discussion. And so you have to give it really, really context, or in this case, you would say revenues and upper limits, right? You would try to explain what an upper limit is, or to feed it that model. And then you would give as much context as possible. This is how I feel. I think I'm stuck. From the perspective of the upper limits model, what am I missing here? What else could I do? What didn't I try? What am I avoiding? Now you have a thinking partner.
Yep. And also, I think one of the issues that I have been facing around this is the memory, right? So when you're in the conversation, it remembers. If you leave for a couple of days, now it starts like going back to
Yes.
the mainstream thinking and what it can pull from the internet. And so you go like, no,
yes.
no, this is the conversation we had, right? Remember this.
Yes, that's why each project in Claude has a project description space, and that's what it remembers. And then everything that you upload, so if you upload files, then it remembers that. And if you give it access, I gave it access to my email, Gmail, calendar, and all files. So whenever I update a file, which a Google Doc or something, like today we'll have meetings, they are in Google Docs. When I ask Claude, it knows the current state of my thinking. That helps a bit too.
So where do you find the biggest use of Claude in your business? Is it your way of thinking? Is it finding new ideas for revenue optimization, new income streams? What's the best? Where have you seen the best results?
I mean, Claude has been material in helping me develop the book, the second book now. Totally different ball game than the first book, where I had to wait for my editor in London to give me feedback. This editor was right here, right now.
So you asked it to be an editor?
Of course, Claude is an amazing editor, writer, critic, creative director. So I asked it, does it make sense? What about the structure of the chapters? Are they really building up suspense? And so it was, like having the Netflix team on your desk discussing with you how to make the end of each chapter more interesting. So I said, is this the best end of this chapter? And it goes, no, it's boring. You have to change it this way. Where is the emotional hook? There is no tension building up in this chapter. I said, oh, how do I build up tension in a chapter? And it goes, dum, 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 dum. It gave me options, right? So Claude for writing is amazing. And the reason we got this really big endorsements on the book, because I remember Jay and I were talking and we said, oh, Marshall Goldsmith will never endorse our book. That's what Jay said, right? And I said, why? Why do you think that, Jay? And he said, because he only does that with absolute killer books. And I said, well, maybe our book is a killer book. And he said, well, maybe, but I don't think so. It will be like a normal book. But no, it became a killer book because we had so many back and forth with Claude that we refined every single step. I was 6 months just rewriting the book with Claude based on all these things. What can I improve in the story here and there? How can we make this more interesting, flow better? How can we make the sentences simpler? All of that, that's what Claude is amazing at. And then I have projects, for example, for investing, it's also pretty important because you can give it specific lenses. Like my lens is very different from other investors' lenses. And this is the only chance that you have to develop a process that actually creates outperformance, because you have to find a gap in what the market sees and what you see. Otherwise, what's the alpha? So, for example, I look at the return on capital employed and the incremental capital employed, which is in none of the screeners out there. So I feed it literally the McKinsey valuation book and say, in this chapter, this is exactly how you find out the reinvestment rate and the incremental reinvestment rate. And then I say, go to, if we're analyzing Amazon, go to Amazon's latest report, download it, and analyze it from that lens. Now bring it back to our current portfolio, and I give it very specific instruction. I say, based on the current Sharpe ratio of our portfolio, what would an increase of 12% in Amazon change on the overall Sharpe ratio of our current portfolio? So it's very specific. It doesn't have enough wiggle room to hallucinate because the
Yes,
question is so tight.
it's so specific that you're
Yeah.
coloring the lens for it.
Yes. That's
Yes.
one application, very tight.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then the second one is meta patterns and meta questions, like, what am I missing? What would somebody who looks at this from a totally different perspective, what would Stan Druckenmiller do? Because Stan has a completely different approach, short term, and he looks for arbitrage, something completely different. And so I say, what would he do right now?
Yeah.
And I get, oh, I was missing this piece.
Yeah, because that gives you some pressure testing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, for example, social media posts. I think I'm getting repetitive with the way I talk about things. So what I'm doing is, how would Jerry Seinfeld say this? And I'm having so much fun.
And do you find yourself challenged when what's coming back? Is it challenging you?
Well, the most important thing is it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as it's fun, I think entrepreneurs, if you entrepreneurs right there, if you can keep the fun alive,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's 80%.
Yeah.
Don't lose the joy of the journey. Like, we are on a journey, and this journey is an adventure. It's wild, it's tough, it's dynamic. Nobody knows anything. So the only thing really that we have to keep with is alive. And alive means curiosity, surprise, meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And those things, they create joy together. So I'm surprised by what Jerry Seinfeld says. Uh, it's it sparks that aliveness in me again. Doesn't feel like, oh, I have to do my marketing post today. No, it's, oh my God, what will I come up today?
Right. And the fun, right? The whole point of the fun, there's a reason why we want it to be fun for our brain's sake, because that gives the dopamine. And dopamine gives you more motivation.
Yeah.
When you get low on dopamine, the motivation disappears. Right? So the dopamine kick of having it be fun is there's a reward of dopamine. So there's actually a chemical process happening in the brain. It's not just like, oh yeah, I want to have fun. There's a reason for that. And
Whatever.
also, yeah, there's a reason for that. And some of us are low in dopamine. So if we now also take away the fun, now like things will start crashing and burning because you will not be able to keep up the pace.
Yes.
So fun is important.
Yes. And you will then search for dopamine in the wrong places, probably.
Yes.
And that's, again, dispersion of your energy and of your attention. So if you can stay with your core problems, but use all the tools available, and one of them is AI, and use them to enrich this problem-solving process, right? If you find it boring to write emails, right? There's so many things you can do. You can say, how would Rick Rubin write this email? Right? Or insert your favorite people in here.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's how I use Claude a lot, both
Mhm.
for writing, for gi- giving me feedback, criticizing as a creative director, as as a as a developer, it codes.
Yeah.
As an employee, I tell him do this, reschedule my calendar, cancel all meetings tomorrow because it's sunshine. I want to go mountain biking. It goes to the calendar, he cancels meeting. He writes an email to those people in Gmail. It
Mhm.
says, "Oh, I'm so sorry, but I have to move this meeting."
Yeah.
So can do many things.
And the vibe coding thing, that's interesting. People are creating amazing things now. I saw my agency owner, she made this website for another client, and I was looking at the page and I was, wow, it was so pretty. There were these effects that were like just attention grabbing, and she had just vibe coded it.
Totally,
So I think like there is so much amazing things you can do.
totally. So this is in the Sprint Club. People ask, but Simon, okay, it's amazing that you're making $12,000 a month with options, but I don't know how much of my cash. So that's the risk for me. What's holding me
Hmm.
back is I don't know how much of my cash I should put
Yeah.
into options today. So if I have $100, should I put 20 or 70? I don't know. And say, okay, give me a second. I went to Claude. I said, Claude, I need a dashboard. These are the rules based on VIX levels. If VIX is at 13, they should have 10% in options. If it's at over 25, they should have 70% in option. Visualize it and put a few fields in there where they can enter their own current data, and they see in real time how much should be in cash and how much should be in options. This
Hmm.
it came out with something that I copied and pasted. I went to the Sprint Club, I entered it as HTML, and then I clicked save. It took me 30 minutes, and I don't know how to code. I never wanted to learn it because it always felt like something that you can delegate easily. And
Yeah.
now it's even easier.
Yeah.
Here it
That's
is. It's a live dashboard. You put in your number, it changes live with you. Or we got these questions, Simon, should I rather ask for referrals or increase my price? Uh, and we said, Claude, I get this question 7 times a week. Build a
hmm
dashboard. I want to see if you increase your weekly referrals from 3 to 4, what's the impact on revenue? Or if I increase the margins by 3%, is that better? Or if I improve my sales technique, so the win rate, is that better? So what are the small things that I can do that create the biggest impact this week? And then it was only revenue. I said, yeah, but now I need it for the profits too, because revenue ultimately doesn't
yeah.
matter. Profits matter.
Yeah.
And change the color so that I can see the profits. Make the profits green. Here it
I
is.
love the visual. Yeah.
Here it is, live dashboard. This
Mm-hmm.
took 2 hours to build
Mm-hmm.
with Claude.
So there is no reason to have an upper limit.
Where is the, show me the upper limit? I don't see it.
There is. It doesn't exist.
It's, we can do
It's
stuff.
yes, we can do stuff. And with the tools we have available today and the right support, there is no upper limit.
The only thing that I see, because everybody's excited when we show them this thing, and then for a week they go totally crazy, drink Red
Hmm.
Bull the whole night and build, 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 which is fun, which is fun. Uh, but, and it can be fun, but if that becomes your new mode, now you're too excited and building too many things. So sure, for a while, do it, jump into it, make it your adventure. But then come back to your boring Monday. What's the strategy? and Friday, what are the actual results. So come back to your process, because that process will give you the stability.
Mhm.
And yes, you can fly higher in terms of your expectations and your ambitions and the volume of what you do, but stay within the, don't forget your yoga mat, right? Come back to your
Yeah.
yoga mat. And in the strategy sprints world, it's Monday strategy, Friday results dashboard,
Mhm.
because that is still the pulse, and that's never going to change.
And white space for creativity and awareness.
Yes. Yes, go for a walk, be in nature, do stuff that's not on your computer, right? And
Mhm.
read books that are before the Roman Empire.
Yeah. That happens to me, right? I go for a walk every day for about an hour, and I get these amazing ideas that didn't exist when I walked out the door, right? And all of a sudden it just happens. It's like, oh, I see connections. I create, like, make up new stuff in my head, and it feels like there's no effort. I just throw all of this stuff in my brain, right? Go for a walk, and things just happen. So, yeah, use the tools.
It's a blessing
For
to be bored, and it's okay. You don't have to have a guilt feeling if you are not working for 2 hours.
Mhm.
Uh, I used to have it, especially when the kids were small, and I would just read a book. I was like, "What are you doing here? The kitchen is a mess. You can't just read a book. You should have a guilt feeling right now." And so, no, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, because that's the employee mindset, right? That's the I'm a machine, I'm delivering to an employer. I have 8 hours or 12 hours I need to deliver all the time. That's the employer mindset. Being an entrepreneur, being in that mindset, not a good thing.
Yeah. Because you are an employee, but you are also the CEO. And the CEO's job is actually to think things through and to take bigger decisions, right decisions that are long term,
Yes. Yeah.
important, and high leverage.
Yeah. And that's how you crush the upper limit that does not exist.
All right, guys, this week
Okay.
we crushed the upper limits. No reason for you to be stuck. And enjoy, guys. Enjoy this week. Have some fun. Have some white space. Thank you, Monica. See you next week. And I'm curious what we come up with next week. Bye bye.